Hello and welcome to this development blog video. In this video I'm going to show you the new save load thumbnail feature in Estranged Act 2. So if I go onto this menu here, you can see that the save thumbnails fade in. And also if I scroll down, you can see they're loaded on demand here as well. So if I go back here, save load, there you go. All working as expected. This is going to be released live very soon, but I'll just go into the technical details behind this. So if I bring up Estranged here, we've got the doc level, the prelude level. If I click play, and then I press F6, you see the game was saved. And if I go to save load, and I look at the thumbnail there, it's very small because we're in a very small window here, but you can see that there's my thumbnail. So that's working as expected. So how does that work? Well, if we go to the Estranged player, the first thing, the entry point here is the Quicksave Action. So when that's pressed, we go to this Save Screenshot Taker, which is an Estranged class, and we request a screenshot. And you can see that we have an event bound here on this object to on screenshot, so when the screenshot is taken. And that comes back with the raw image data. So the Estranged Screenshot Taker is actually on GitHub. This is all the Estranged core source code, alanedwards/estranged.core. This method just wraps up some Unreal Engine infrastructure. So what we do here is we say, what I want to do is I want to bind my accept screenshot method to the onScreenshot captured event. And then we tell Unreal that I want to request a screenshot. So then Unreal will, I don't know, do this in a different thread or do it on the next frame, whatever. It goes and takes a screenshot, it gets back to you with a list of colors, which is the image. And then this class then broadcasts out again the onScreenshot event with that image data and the width and height of the image. So if we go back to the blueprint here, that's what we get back. We get an array of color and we get width and height. So then we save the game state. Now this save game state here, it's a big messy blueprint that needs a lot of refactoring, but the fourth step here is to crop and scale the image. That's the first thing it does. So it gets the save thumbnail size. Because you can't have constants in blueprints, I like to use little methods that just have the shared values here. So 160 width, 90 height. We go back here. So crop and scale the image. Now this is not in Unreal. This is something I've exposed, but the actual code to do the cropping and scaling is all Unreal. So this crop and scale image here, this is the thing that the blueprint is calling, but this just calls straight down to fimage utils. So this is a utilities class inside the engine. I didn't write this, so we're just calling it directly to crop and scale the image down. The next thing we do is compress it to PNG. So if I go back to the code here, we actually write out a PNG. So we compress the image array with fimage utilities again. Very, very straightforward. No actual image processing logic here. And then we persist this save. So we persist the thumbnail right away, and the thumbnail ends up as a separate file. I'll just go quickly into that persist save raw. So we've got persist save raw, load save raw. Because this isn't exposed to blueprints, we have to go through the iSave game system, C++ interface, save the game, slot name, give it the raw bytes. Because by this time we've got the raw image bytes out of the compress image to PNG method. So what does that look like on disk? If I go to my save games folder, this game state folder was here before. This has always been in Estranged. This is the thing that captures the state of the level, captures the state of the actors. But this is a big data structure. So in here, there is lists of levels, there is lists of actors in each level, there are lists of components inside the actors. So this is a kind of spidery, very hierarchical list of structures. And to load this into memory, it actually freezes Unreal for a little while, because it's got to do a bunch of memory allocation and allocate those lists, etc. So this is not viable. So what I naively tried at the start was just put the thumbnail in this file. Why not? It's like 20 kilobytes. Let's see if we can do it. But the problem is that when you load up this menu, you have to load all of the thumbnails at one time. So loading 10 save files here with the big hierarchical structure at once it's got to do a bunch of memory allocations for one save, and then it's got to do it 10 times. So this was causing noticeable freezes, noticeable hitches. I tried spreading it out, whatever, but it didn't really work. It's not a good solution. So what we could do is just pack the thumbnail data at the end of this file or something and go and seek to it. It's all complicated. Just write a new file. That's the simplest thing to do. So if I copy one of these and just rename it to .png, because you've seen how the secret source works, there you go. It is just a PNG image. PNG offers a balance between it being lossless and it's also compressed. So that's why I picked PNG. PNG is a good format for this. I remember the source engine used to use Targa for this, which is not very compressed. I don't think it's compressed at all, actually. So they were very big, but these are a lot smaller. The trade-off is you've got to burn compute to go and uncompress it and load it back up. But as you can see here, Unreal deals with it very well. And actually, if we have problems here on slower PCs, what we can do is parallelize this. This is all very, very, very parallelizable because you can just start a thread. There's nothing that depends on anything. You can put all of the loading in a separate thread and just kind of call back to the UI. So if that becomes a problem, which I don't think it will be, but if it does on more constrained environments, that's an option. So what I'm going to do is go into the actual menu itself. So this is the save load menu. This looks kind of familiar. You've got the back and save game and load game. This is where the save games appear. So going back to the blueprint here, what we do is we list the save games, loop through them. But for each one, we just make a new widget, add it to our vertical box, but give it the slot name, and that's it. That's all we do in this thing. This is kind of separation of concerns. This just cares about spawning this save game list item, and then it'll just manage that. So if we go into this menu save, the actual widget itself, this is the thing responsible for loading and rendering that thumbnail. So you can see here we've got an icon. We've also got the label for the save game. So if I go back to the graph here, when we're constructed, the first thing we do is we set the text to the slot name, which is what we got when we were created. Bind an event to when we're clicked to actually load the game. So here's the thumbnail bit. So what we're doing here is we're just saying, I want to wait somewhere between 200 milliseconds and 500 milliseconds. So what that does is it spreads the reads out to disk across, 300 milliseconds, just in case the disk is slightly slower, there might be a queue on it, whatever, so we don't freeze. We do our best to just kind of spread the reads out, so we're not doing them all at the same time. So this works well. I've been testing with an SSD. I need to test this on a hard drive, physical hard drive, a magnetic hard drive, they're all physical, to see if this is actually a problem. So this might need to be increased depending on the type of drive, or like I said, actually do the work to thread it. So we just wait a little bit. We load the save. So this is using that method I showed you. So get the thumbnail folder, get the slot name. So that just joins this directory with this, loads it up. What we get out there is bytes. So this is compressed PNG bytes. And all we do is, no C++ involved here actually, because this import buffer is texture 2D. This is part of the Kismet rendering library. So what we do is we pipe it our array of bytes, our PNG image, and what we get out is a texture 2D object. And what you can do with that is just set it on the brush of the icon. So very, very simple. This brush just becomes, you see the default brush is this old save image just for incompatible saves, but we just set it with this loaded buffer. So that's it, that's the loading. And what we do after that, we just play a little fade in animation just to make it seem very polished. It is very polished, but we're going to add the effect anyway to make it nice. So that's the complete thumbnail pipeline, and that's going to be live in Estranged Act 2 very shortly on Steam. It'll be the final update of 2018, so watch out for that. If you've got any requests, let me know in the comments. You can always join the Discord, Estranged Discord server on discord.gg/estranged. And I wish you a very nice new year, very happy new year. Thank you very much for watching.